It's time now to set your day aside. Let your shoulders drop just a little more. Unclench your jaw. Release your hands. Let the world grow quiet around you. Imagine you're lying somewhere warm, still safe. A soft woolen blanket tucked beneath your chin. The air around you is calm, and still. You may hear a hush of wind brushing the windows, or perhaps the gentle flicker of firelight nearby. Let those little sounds lull you, just as they lulled a traveler long ago. In a stone abbey nestled bench sits Brother Edric, a humble monk with ink-stained sleeves. His woolen robe is worn thin at the elbows. His spectacles slide gently down his nose. His quill rests in a pot of deep black ink. But tonight, Edric is not writing. His head droops forward, softly against the page. His breath rises and falls like a lullaby. He is not lost in thought. He is wandering through stories. All day, he has sculpted a prayer book, letter by careful letter. The ink is made from oak, gall, and iron. Its lines glide smooth and velvety across vellum. He draws a G like a snail shell, and a curl like a sleeping cat's tail. And as Brother Edric dreamt, the abbey itself seemed to breathe with him, a place shaped by centuries of silence, where the stones remembered every footstep, and the candles stood on the ceiling whispered stories to the rafters. Outside, a breeze began to stir gently, It moved through the cloister garden like a lullaby, brushing over herbs tucked beneath straw. Sweet marjoram, soft camp. The same plants the monks would dry and hang from wooden beams to steep into teas that healed the body and soothed the soul. You might picture that breeze now, dear listener, trailing softly through the window slits, ruffling the corners of vellum pages, bringing with it the scent of moss, cool, stone, and just a hint of wood. The fire in the scriptorium had grown low, glowing with soft embers, like the breath of a sleeping animal. The kind of quiet warmth that invites stillness, and welcomes dreams. And there, still tucked over his page, was Edric, our gentle scribe, his fingers stained with ink, his lips slightly parted in sleep. One might think he was listening, not just to the wind, but to the very heartbeat of the abbey itself. Lub-dub, the rhythm of the place, ancient, steady, say. And within his dreamy mind, another story began to unfold. In it, Edric walked through a forest made of books. Tall tomes grew like trees' leather-bound trunks, with golden lettering for bark. The leaves were pages that fluttered when he passed by, and now and then a scroll curled around his feet like a curious cat. The path beneath him was soft, like moss made of words, and when he looked up, the sky was parchment white, with ink-block clouds drifting silently across. From behind a hill of hymeneals, a figure approached. A woman in robes the color of faded rose petals, carrying a lantern filled with blue flame. She smiled and spoke not with words, but with a quill, drawing letters in the air that shimmered and faded. Even the quietest stories, her writing said, can echo louder than bells. And then, just as she turned to vanish between a grove of illuminated manuscripts, Edric heard something. Back in the waking world, it was only the soft creak of the abbey door. But in the dream, it was the toll of an ancient bell, rung not to wake, but to guide dreamers deeper, deeper still. You may find yourself now sinking gently with Edric, not into action, but into softness, into the lull of turning pages, into the quiet company of thought, into the understanding that not every story must be told loudly. Some live best in margins, some only in wisdom. All around Edric's shoulders, as monks had done for each other for hundreds of years. A quiet act of care in a world often too fast. Perhaps you, too, feel that warmth now. A gentle presence, something wrapping around your shoulders. A sense that you are not alone in your stillness. Because in St. Dunstan's the night was a trusted friend. It knew how to keep secrets and how to crave. And so the night deepened, like ink spreading slowly across parchment. Every corner of the abbey dipped in shadow and hush, not dark, but gentle, like the folds of a velvet robe drawn over the shoulders of the earth. You might imagine now the stone walls exhaling coolness, the wooden beams creaking softly as they settle into sleep, the air itself laced with the quiet crackle of dreams. Brother Edric, our sleepy scribe, remained still, save for the rise and fall of his breath. His dreams had shifted now. Not quite forest, not quite sky, but something in between. He wanted a great cathedral built not of stone, but of books and pages and twine. Its arches rose like open scrolls, and the stained glass windows glowed with tiny words, so small they could only be read in dreams. He moved slowly through this strange and sacred place, bare feet brushing against illuminated floor tiles, each tile painted with tiny creatures, dancing rabbits, yawning lions, owls in spectacles, and mice tucked into walnut shell beds. And everywhere, was the sound of pen, not scratching, but humming, a music made from words being born. Somewhere a bell rang, not a loud bell, but one so soft, so silvery, that it seemed to chime directly within your chest, like the memory of kindness. It was then that he saw her again, the woman with the roast. This time, she was sitting beside a pool of mirrored ink. In its surface, Edric saw not himself, but a dozen other scribes. Across time and space, a Roman monk copying scrolls by lamplight, a Persian calligrapher painting verses with gold, a medieval nun writing tiny psalms with care no less holy than prayer, and in each face, a look of peace. She smiled at him once more, and then pointed to a book, its cover soft, its spine stitched with silver thread. Edric reached out, and as his fingers touched the cover, he woke, but not sharply, not startled. He rose from sleep like a feather drifting from one hand to another. The fire was nearly out, the scriptorium quiet as snowfall, and in front of him, his page remained unfinished. The prayer he'd been copying stopped mid. The tiny mouse he'd drawn curled still beside a crumb, and next to it, though he did not remember drawing it, was the image of a book with a silver-stitched spine. He stared at it for a long while. Then, slowly, he dipped his quill into the ink one more time. But he did not return to the prayer. Instead, in the margin below the mouse, he wrote, "Even the quietest stories can echo louder than bells." And after that, he closed the book. Perhaps he would finish the prayer another night. But for now, his work was done. He stood, folded his shoulder, and left the scriptorium, his sandals whispering across the worn stone floor. Through the narrow corridor, he walked past the rows of sleeping brothers, past the flickering shadows cast by the oil lamps, until he reached the cloister garden. There he sat and breathed. The sky above was scattered with stars, each one a tiny candle in the cathedral of the heaven. The garden's lavender bushes swayed gently in the breeze. The carved stone fountain trickled with soft, dreamlike rhythm, and the basil, still warm from the day's sun, sweetened the night air. Edric let the silence fall around him like a second robe. And perhaps, dear listener, you feel that silence too. That velvet stillness. That deep sense of being, not alone, but perfectly, quietly held by something older than time itself. He closed his eyes, and this time, when sleep returned to him, it came not on ink-stained hands, but on wings like the pages of a book, fluttering close. It's time now to set your day aside. Let your shoulders drop, just a little more. Unclench your jaw and let the world grow quiet around you. Imagine you're lying somewhere warm, somewhere still, beneath a soft woolen blanket, tucked gently beneath your chin. The air around you is calm, and safe. A hush of wind brushes the windows, leaves rustle softly outside. A gentle flicker of firelight warms the room. Let those little sounds lull you, just as they would in an old medieval abbey, far, far away, dot, dot, dot. And long, long ago. Take one soft breath in, and now let it go. There's nothing to do now but rest. Your thoughts can drift like dandelion seeds. No hurry, dot, dot, dot. No way, just drifting, dot, dot, dot. And now, let's begin. Our story today, dot, dot, dots, begins in a stone abbey, deep in the English countryside. A place called St. Dunstan's? It is a cool evening. Late in the 13th century, the sun has dipped behind the hills, dot, leaving a haze of lavender and gold. The air smells of duet stone, of B-E-S-W-X, dot, 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 and crushed time. Beneath the slate roof, dot, is a long room with arched windows. This is the SCRIP, a sacred, silent place where monks have copied books for centuries. The walls are rough stone, but within there is warmth, dot, a hush that hums in the heart, dot, the crackle of fire, dot, the occasional scratch of a quill and the whisper of dreams. At the end of a long bench sits Brother Edric, a humble monk and scribe. His robe is woolen, worn at the elbows, spectacles sliding gently down his nose, a tiny inkwell beside him, catching candlelight like a still pool, dot, dot, dot. But he is not writing now. His head droops softly forward, his breath slow, and even dot, dot, dot. Not through fields, but through stories. All day he copied a prayer book, letter by letter, dot, 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 with a goose feather quill. Ink made from oak gall and iron salts, dot, lines dark and velvety across creamy velvet. A G spiraled like a snail shell, an A curled like a cat's tail. But it was the margin that called to him. The quiet corners beside the sacred text, where his imagination whispered dot, dot, dot. He drew dot, dot, dot on a miniature loaf, dot, dot. Its eyes, its whiskers dusty with flour. Above it a sleepy dragon, dot, dot, wrapped one wing around its nose. These were called marginalia, little drawings hidden in the quiet spaces, scribbles of joy between solemn lines. And in the flickering hush, Edric's fingers stilled, and he drifted into sleep. Outside the window, night unfolded slowly. An owl called softly from the tower. Stars blinked into the sky, dot, 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 one by one. Candles burned low in the SCR. Ipatio, their flames tilting, dot, dot, whispering bedtime secrets. In dreams, Edric wandered, dot, 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 through scrolls and stories made of parchment. Inked mice scurried across pages. Dragons snoozed by painted hearths, dot, dot. Prayers glowed in lapis blue and gold, dot, dot. He dreamt of running out of parchment, a real fear for many scribes. Parchment was rare, made from caps, and precious beyond measure. Some monks wrote small wishes in the margins. Dot, may God send more parchment, dot, 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 or dot, 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 I am very tired. Edric wrote such a line once on the back of a forgotten page. And now he dreamed in silence, dot, dot. He slept now beneath the stars. The garden wrapped around him like an old friend. New hedges softened into silhouettes. The air smelled of mint and closing roses, dot, dot. A night jar called once. The wind quieted, too. The sky above, dot, 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 like dark VELLUM, dot, dot. And a single star twinkled gently, dot, dot.